Agriculture into this discussion because, we've spoken with canola farmers who say they were frustrated that the federal government put this tariff on EVs, knowing that it would come back on them, and it did. So in order for this relationship to improve on the auto sector, what would canola farmers be calling for?
Well, let me just go back to the auto sector for a moment. I mean, President Trump has thus far, from the very beginning until now, has been consistent on one thing. He said the U.S. doesn't need our cars. They don't want Canada to make cars. And so there are very profound, serious questions of whether the car industry, manufacturing industry, will remain in Canada. The industry itself and former Prime Minister Trudeau said, if the 25% tariffs remain in place on the auto industry is finished. It's not sustainable. I agree with that assessment, by the way. We've got to start preparing for the day when we are maybe possibly going to exit auto industry. As horrible as that will be to people in Southern Ontario, Australia did it in the late 90s. It didn't devastate Australia. Australia is now higher average income per capita than we are in Canada. But we've got to start preparing for that day. And we've got to diversify, as we all know, our exports, such as, oh my goodness, agricultural exports to China. So that's one of the reasons, I think, why we've got to start looking at this and saying we've got to start developing alternatives to the United States.
Guys, I'm wondering, where is the elbows up crowd? Because this guy seems pretty casual about Southern Ontario's population losing thousands of jobs. So I really want to talk about this. Welcome back to the Freedom Pines podcast. I'm your host, Jamie A.B. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, it is so hard to get seen on YouTube at all in Canada, especially when the CRTC really doesn't like you. So thank you guys so much, and let's get into today's video. So this weekend I was watching this video and I was so angry because he's just like, my husband and I obviously know that we have a lot of our friends and family working in the auto sector down south, and we just look at each other like, oh, okay, yeah, thousands of people without work. I'm sure Australia did it somehow, and you're not really saying how, but we're going to have to find a different way. Yeah, I know, but how are you going to do that? Do you guys, do people really understand the population of Southern Ontario? Okay, up north, our communities, we all have a couple of places to work within communities. Other than, you're either a tradesman, you work in these like a logging or mining, or, something else random up here. We even think about if my husband's place, all of this plays into whether we move to Alberta or not, because we think about the tariffs and the effect it's going to have on the logging industry, because, oh my goodness, it's just crazy. Because if that place closes down, if one place closes down in Northern Ontario, you have like 500 people looking for a job. Okay? Now, imagine Southern Ontario, where thousands of people rely on the auto sector. I personally worked in the auto sector, and what amazed me and what I learned was how many of these plants work together. I worked at a place that was building doors for a place in another town that was like the town over, and we made the car parts and they like put it together, I guess. And it just amazed me that all of these different plants work together. But what you don't realize is how many people actually rely on the auto sector down south. And, I don't exactly know how Australia turned over having a bunch of people lose their jobs, because he says that Australia no longer has an auto sector. Like, I'm telling, are you guys getting all your cars, like all of them, shipped over? Okay. I just genuinely can't imagine a time where we don't have cars being built in Canada. And why not? Why wouldn't we? And not saying that we need to rely on the auto sector for forever, but building cars here and having them made in Canada is a good thing. I thought we wanted to... None of this seems like it's environmentally friendly. To fight with America about things, let them steal our auto sector, and then ship over a bunch more stuff from China. Does that make sense to anybody? Does that make sense? You know, and what they'll do in the name of change, if you know what I mean, sea change, you know, get rid of the only way that we exist, gas and oil, okay? But because they're beefing with America, which they're not, Mark Carney said that he's doing an incredible job, okay? I would just love to sit there and watch the lefties' actual reactions instead of their online ones that they were told that they have to have, because I'm sorry, did it not bother you that Mark Carney, you know, they call Trump a fascist all the time. Are you guys not bothered that Mark Carney called the fascist and said he was doing a great job? No, they won't admit that. But anyways, it's just so casual in comparison to how much they were amping up the rhetoric during the election that it's noticeable. It's noticeable. I have no idea how you can brush over the fact that thousands of Southern Ontarians, and it reminds me of 2008, the 2008 recession. I'm not sure what was going on there, but I know that the auto sector was going to be impacted then. If people wonder why do they bail out the auto sector in Southern Ontario? Because they've gotten themselves into a pickle where that's the main thing down south. I can think of very few factories that aren't meant for making cars and car parts and all anything, trucks, any vehicle. We have like a Dr. Udgar down south. We make a lot of chemicals. There's places that make chemicals. But a lot of it has to do with cars. Oh my goodness. And what would we do? What would happen down south? What's the plan, Stan? If we're going to get rid of all of these jobs, what's the plan? What's the plan? Because this seems like it only benefits Trump and it only benefits China, and Canada is going to be SOL. It's the woman was too stunned to speak, genuinely. These people who fearmongered, you know, this, and now they're just like, well, okay, we're going to have to get used to it. I thought you guys wanted Mark Carney to stand up to Trump so that we would still have jobs. I digress. Anyway, so this next clip is from CTV. Okay, let's just listen.
Thank the Canadian friends for the long-term support of China-Canada relationship, and I look forward to continue having their support, including the support of the Canadian media.
I don't necessarily know what that means, and I will just really quickly point out that I know you say the evidence doesn't exist. The government has told Canadians something very different.
Okay, first of all, people think that Vashi didn't know what he was saying. Yes, she did. Listen to what she said at the end. She knew exactly. She said, the government says different, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, and continued support from Canadian media. And she's like, I don't know what you mean by that. Okay, I really like Vashi, and I am not the nicest on TikTok, but girl, you definitely know what he's talking about, because we don't do anything about it. We don't do anything about foreign interference. We literally announce it and then throw people off by saying that Mark Carney, by making it seem like Mark Carney isn't the one that is benefiting from this, okay? And then we just say, oh, guys, can you please not do that? I don't even know if they asked them not to. I don't even know. And they know that we have election interference via WeChat and they don't ban it in Canada. Does that make sense to you guys in the slightest? No, it really doesn't. Would it make even sense? Because here's the thing. Here's what I would do if I was in government, okay, and dealing with election interference. If you can't do anything about it, okay, if you can't get the Chinese government to say to its WeChat users, hey, you know, you're allowed to vote for who you want to vote for in Canada. We have nothing to do with this. This was all misinformation. And then when they didn't do that, you ban it, okay? And then you have people who speak Chinese at these polling stations that are going to be like where we know that there's a lot of Chinese population. Why don't you guys have translators there to let people know hey, nobody can see who you vote for, so don't worry, your vote is secret. Vote for who you want to vote for, instead of just having some sort of broadcast that nobody's going to see because we cannot share news on any media platform. I'm sorry, this is ridiculous. There should be nowhere in this planet that I have better ideas than the government that gets paid thousands of dollars to do this job. Okay, I could come up with something better, and I'm just a regular old pleb. All right, I can't even talk about the fact that they just keep magically recounting and winning ballots. I can't because I just can't. What's the saying? I'm gonna let God fix it, because if I fix it, I'm going to yeah. And by the way, Canadian media, maybe China wouldn't be thanking you guys if you didn't just consistently crap on Mark Carney's opponent when you know that Mark Carney is being held up by the CCP. I don't know, just a thought. Just a idea out there. And, for this weekend, I just want to say, while I was doing these comments, or while I was doing this video, I got a comment on TikTok, because TikTok was open on my desktop. And it said, another waste of space who is chronically online. Crying, laughing. I wouldn't be chronically online if you guys didn't make me take a medication to work. So, how about them apples? I genuinely have to... People wonder how I do it because the amount of hate that I get is absolutely astronomically insane. The things that people have said to me. I have been told that one of my friends got a hit on me. And I called the RCMP and they said, there's nothing we can do. I said, okay, well, I just wanted you to know that one of the new scams going around is saying, I will do this to you because someone hired me to, unless you give me money. So, they didn't really care and they kind of laughed. I'm glad this is funny to you guys. But that's another video I wanted to do, is how to stay sane right now. Because, believe it or not, I do leave my computer and I don't always talk about these things. I do watch videos, but I'm home alone all day. So by the time the kids are home, I'm not watching political stuff at all. And they're usually watching their shows. So I don't do this. I don't talk about it. I literally leave my computer and I try not to think about it, because if I overthink it, it will be not good for my mental health. I have always thought there's a special type of person who can handle being online, because you genuinely, especially if you are a more even center leaning creator, they will call you names all day long. There will be hate campaigns against you. I don't know if it's bots. Some of it's actually real people because they've stitched me, but I don't know who pays for these things. I don't know who's doing it. I don't know if this is to fight information. I don't know. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys have an incredible day. I hope you guys had an incredible weekend. I am so excited. It's going to be in the 20s in Northern Ontario this week. Hallelujah. I am so incredibly grateful. And I want to thank you guys again for the support, because without you guys, my video would not be going anywhere. My videos would not be going anywhere. So thank you guys so much for all of the support. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.